Welcome back. Cruise is the true story of what should have been Michael Spencer's last night on Earth. When diagnosed with HIV in 1984, he was told that he had 4 years left to live. So, with a few years left, him and his partner sold everything and party, throughout the remainder of their lifetime. Now, the play is heading to South Africa, the first staging outside of the United Kingdom for 6 shows only at the Linden Theatre in Johannesburg from Tuesday the 6th to Sunday the 11th of December this year. To share a bit more on the production, we're now joined by show director Josh Lindberg. Josh, a very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for supporting us and allowing me in.
Indeed. Good to have you on the show this morning. Well, I shared a bit on the play, but just give us more details about what this play is all about.
You know, this play is about all of us. We can all find our story within this. We're all individuals. It's about being accepted, no matter what your otherness may be. So our show is flashbacks to the 1980s decade when HIV popped up in the world, and this being the 40th anniversary of HIV coming to our continent, it's a perfect time to tell this story. As you mentioned, our protagonists go on this amazing journey, living each day like it's their last. And I think that's amazing because as a main theme in the show, we should all do that. Stay in the present, live in the moment, be who we are, and really allow ourselves to be as honest as we can and be accepted by others for who we are. So it's essentially about being heard, being seen and being acknowledged.
It's quite interesting that you raised the issue of HIV and, how it hit our shores 40 years ago. So how much of the negative stigma has been removed from HIV?
Well, the show is set in a call centre, present day.
Yes.
Present day, we've just been through a pandemic.
Yeah.
None of us knew what it was when it first arrived and hit us. We had to navigate this as a community of the world together. When HIV arrived in the 1980s, we didn't know what that was either and how that would affect any of us. And then it hit, in particular, an LGBT plus community. That stigmatized them radically. Literally with phrases like a gay cancer or a gay plague. So people didn't really, were shunned from society and pushed away, unfairly so, until we as a world discovered that actually any of us could contract HIV.
Yes.
So when, these guys are not given, they're diagnosed, they're given this, unsure time of how much time they have, be it a few days, a few months, or even a couple of years. So one of our protagonists does pass, but yes, a negative stigma, but also about how do you actually deal with this as a society and accept each other for who we are and live your life as if it's the last.
Oh yes. So how was it then reworking this production into a 1 and 30 minutes production? Well,
this show is a kaleidoscope of the senses. I mean, there's so much reminiscent of that era. When we flash back with this incredible soundtrack created by the London composer, John Elliott. It's filmic in its landscape of music. We go back to a lot of that music from the 80s, so people will feel like they're back in that time through light, through sound, through the streets that these people visit, and the characters we meet. It's a universal story, so although it's set in London, we can definitely relate to it here as South Africans.
There was no need to, rework it to fit the South African audience?
No, I don't think so. It doesn't matter where the story is set. So this story is told to our present-day protagonist by someone who phones into a call centre. And that call centre essentially is a listening service. So I think that's something we really need to do, no matter where we are in the world, is see someone for who they are. I see you.
Indeed.
I see your story. Your story before you came into the studio this morning is what you're carrying here and we're chatting about in this energy that we have right now.
Got you.
So what an important thing to do. And then he tells the story and we see the journey of our lead character, the guy who works in that call centre present day, is transformed from the beginning of the show to the end of the show and suddenly say, wow, hang on, although I'm a young guy, I see the world differently now because of this experience of the story I've just heard.
Sure. So how much of a resonance does it strike then in modern day South Africa?
I don't think it's really rooted in a place or time. So that's the beauty of the show, and it is an Olivia-nominated script. So it's a wonderful, wonderful text, a rich text. And our lead actor and his name is Daniel Geddes, have been working really, really hard and now are joined by more and more members of the team contributing to that story, each one of them. And that's what we're going to share to the audience. We've also gone and spoken to a couple of people here in South Africa, just individuals, heard their stories, and tried to really understand what it's like for a South African. Perhaps South African gay man or woman, but any South African who deals with any form of otherness, be it race, be it culture, and so on. Because those are all things that are stigmatized and push us into different, away from a collective society.
Yeah.
So as we play this show and offer it to our South African audience, they'll find that they'll resonate in that way.
Yeah, and what is it that you're hoping or wish that the South African audience would take away after watching this film?
To live every day like it's your last. To stay in the present and be authentic to yourself.
Okay. So just back to, the protagonist played by Daniel. I can imagine how difficult it was stepping in those shoes. I mean, playing Michael's role is really, really tedious, isn't it?
Not only stepping in the shoes of the wonderful actor who, by the way, wrote the show as well. His name is Jack Holden.
Yes.
Firstly, we're performing this out of our pandemic. Our theatres are opening up again. We're gathering together to go and watch live things. That's wonderful. Live music, live theatre, and so on.
Yeah.
So that's the first privilege of what we're doing.
Yes.
Added to that, Daniel is working with, as you say, a large text, be it 90 minutes. Which he's alone on stage, but he plays all the different characters we meet. So he flips in and out of 20+ characters, which means he has to really find the authenticity of each and every character, really find what's the truth behind each person and character that we meet. So it's an incredibly challenging role to play, but he's embracing it. He's a wonderful guy and an amazing artist to work with. He and I have gone on this incredible journey so far. And as we bring in audiences to see it through this production week, and then when we open up, he's going to grow more.
Oh, wow. Lovely chatting to you, George. Thank you so much for joining us.
Lovely chatting to you.
And just a brief one, how do we get to be a part of this?
Yes, we open on the 7th of December at the Linden Theatre.
Okay.
You can book your tickets through Quicket.
All right.
And come and see us. Bring your friends.
All right.
We'll welcome you.
All right, Josh, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, the Olivier Award-nominated play Cruise, written and performed by Jack Holden, is heading to South Africa at the Theatre Linden in Johannesburg from the 6th of December to the 11th of December this year.